Islamic State has claimed responsibility for the machete attack in Belgium. The country's prime minister has called Saturday's attack in the city of Charleroi an act of terrorism. 2 police officers were injured in the assault. Now, for more on this, I'm joined live now by RT's Laura Smith. Hi there, Laura. So what is the latest? Do bring us up to date.
Well, it looked all through the morning like this story wasn't really going to move very much. But in fact, we have recently heard that Islamic State has claimed that it was responsible for the attack that took place in Charleroi on Saturday. Police recently raided the house of the machete attacker. Of course, he turned up at the police headquarters in Charleroi, tried to get through the security barriers and pulled a machete as he was doing so out of a sports bag, according to the chief of police, and attacked 2 police women as he was doing it, quite seriously wounded at least one of them. So they've raided his house. They say that he's a 33-year-old Afghan national and that he previously had a criminal record. He was known to police as a criminal, but not as a terrorist. We also now have a statement that was released through Islamic State's Amaq news agency, in which it called the assailant a soldier of the caliphate. It said that he had acted in response to calls by IS to carry out international terror attacks. Now, obviously, all these things are very worrying for the people of Belgium. They're still reeling, really, from March's airport terror attacks. And I've been out speaking to the people of Charleroi this morning, who are carrying on business as usual, but there's certainly an element of fear. Let's hear them.
I expected that something like this could happen for a very long time. It's very important that we see strengthened police forces on the streets of the city.
I have a wife and a 14-year-old daughter. Sure, I'm afraid, because this can happen anywhere.
In fact, it's pointless to increase the number of security forces in the city. It's done only to give the feeling of safety to people, but in reality, it does not guarantee any security.
Very interesting to talk to those people, and you'll see from the scenery behind me that I've left Charleroi now and I'm on my way to Liège, which was the scene of another attack much earlier this morning. I asked the people of Charleroi about this new attack and they hadn't heard anything about it, so it just goes to show that these things are becoming so commonplace that reports don't even leave the town that they happened in some cases. This was another machete-wielding man in the early hours of this morning in a park in the city of Liège, which is only about 60 miles away from Charleroi. So really a weekend of attacks. Again, not sure whether the one in Liège was terror-related as of yet. All these investigations are ongoing and it's very early days, but a worrying trend here in Belgium.
Indeed, Laura. Thanks so much for this update, though, and for bringing us up to date on the situation there. Laura Smith reporting. Now, the attack in Charleroi comes as Belgium is already on a state of high alert. In March this year, Brussels was rocked by 3 coordinated suicide bombings, 2 at its international airport and 1 at a metro station. 32 civilians and 3 perpetrators were killed, and more than 300 people were injured. It was the deadliest act of terror in Belgium's history, and within the last month alone, Europe has been hit by several deadly attacks that have claimed more than 100 lives.
The idea of a lone wolf attack It's incredibly difficult to police against. People who are radicalised, perhaps in their own rooms, reading the computer, it's incredibly difficult to predict who might suddenly be triggered off to carry out an attack like this. And it rather undermines also the justification of the Western intelligence agencies to say that they need blanket surveillance, they need to hoover up all our electronic communications. When it comes to policing or trying to gain intelligence on ISIS-coordinated attacks, they're doing a particularly good job either. Virtually all the lone wolf, all the ISIS attacks that have happened across the West, almost all those people who've been involved in those attacks have already been on the intelligence radar, and they have not been picked up because the intelligence agencies are drowning in a tsunami of electronic surveillance. They're not picking up the key people they need to pick up.